Because if everything would be based on what the Torah says, according to Torah, if we do what we have to do, there's no tshuva. That's it. We're separated from God. We went against Torah. Where does tshuva come into the picture? The whole idea of tshuva comes into the picture because this is Moshe Rabbeinu revealed it to us. There is a connection through the Torah, but it could be another connection. Just return to God. Just by you returning to God, even though you unfortunately did the wrong things, it can still connect to Hashem. And this is a beautiful idea. Rashi was the way he translates the Torah, explains it very simple. It doesn't go deep, very simple. But as we know, when Rashi explains in a very simple way, it's very, very deep. Rashi's simple explanations is very, very deep. They say about this great Talmid Chacham hundreds of years ago. They called him Rabbi Shimshon, a big Mekubal. Unfortunately, got killed, I think. It's a big story with him. Let's not get into it now. And he decided that he wanted to write a commentary on Torah in a Kabbalah style because it was a big Mekubal. So he started writing it. I don't know where I read that story, but he started writing it, and it was too long. So he tried to make it shorter, condense it, because you want to write a commentary on Torah, it's got to be something people are going to read, right? If you're going to write a commentary on Torah, it's 20 books. Nobody's going to read that, right? It's got to be short. So he tried to make it shorter. Finally, he was able to condense it to a decent quantity of pages that he should fit in. And when he did it in a short version, and he was ready to go print it, he looked, that his explanation, this is exactly what Rashi says. Just says, what I need my explanation, ripped it off and threw it out. When he said after, he says, you look at Rashi, he was big, Mekubal. He says, look at Rashi, it's simple. I tried to explain everything I want to Kabbalah. I ended up saying what Rashi says. So the point is, what he was saying, that in Rashi's simple explanation, it's so deep. Why am I saying all that? We just talked about a very simple idea. What does Rashi tell us of a very simple thing? Let's go back to the beginning. Rashi comes and tells us, when you put the tablets, that's the Torah in the Ark, it should be prior to the cover, because the cover is not part of it. Okay, simple thing. But if you go deep into it, you see Rashi, it's more important what Rashi wants to tell you over here. What Rashi wants to tell you over here, that the tablets, the Torah, is related to the Ark. But the cover and the Kruvim, it's not a part of the Ark. What is Rashi here to teach us? The Ark, this is our connection to God, because Torah is connection to God. But don't take now the cover and the Kruvim who say this is also the same. No, that's another connection to God. There's a connection to God through Torah. There's a connection to God through the Kruvim. When there's the Kruvim resemble a connection to God just because, like a married couple are together. No matter what, you're together. God and us are together. When Rashi says it arises from this pasuk, and he says you should know. Here in the Torah, in the greatest levels of Torah we're learning, the Torah in the heart, there's even greater connection. What is the greater connection? The greater connection is the Jew just doing tshuva, the Jew wanting to be with Hashem. And that's the Kruvim. And this is why the Kruvim resemble the real deep connection between us and Hashem. If you learn Chassidut, it talks a lot about this idea of the Kruvim. The Kruvim is something, it's a very strong, one Kruv resembles God, one Kruv resembles us. That's what the Kruvim are all about. But again, as we said, the Ramban would explain it. Yeah, you know what the connection of the two Kruvim, God and us? is based on what's on the bottom. What's in the bottom is the ark. What's in the ark? The tablets. Yeah, if we keep the Torah well, that's when the Kruvim are there together. In other words, if we keep the Torah well, that's when us and God are together. Comes Rashi says, no. Yes, you're right, but that's not the only way. Because the cover, right, it was the cover, and the Kruvim were like engraved in the cover, right? It was stuck into the cover. If you look at the picture, right, the Kruvim were a part of the cover. The cover and the Kruvim, Rashi says, it's not one with the ark. In other words, don't tell me that the only way the Kruvim are connected, the only way God is arguing us is only if it's a part of the ark, a part of the Torah. When if it's not a part of the Torah, there's no connection. Rashi says no. It's two separate things. There's another connection. And that's what we see. Simple, but in that simplicity, it's so deep. But as we said, the other connection is to Hashem, is the connection of the Torah, and the connection through the Torah. That's the normal way it should be. Based on that idea now, we can explain something else too, that we spoke about right in the beginning. We were talking about when they were building, what did we say? That they had to do that those poles cannot be removed. Yeah, remember we spoke about it right in the beginning? In verse 15. Yeah. So we'll talk about it after. In verse 15 we're talking about that is, you got to put in the rings. Lo yasuru mimenu. You cannot remove it. So we asked the question, why can't you remove it? Why can't it just stay there? Why can't you just, if the ark is put, especially in time of the Bet HaMikdash, why do we need those poles? You're not moving, you're not taking it anywhere. It's just there. What does the Torah say? Even though there was poles in other stuff too. We're going to learn the next thing was also in the table, was also in the Mizbeach. Because in many of those things, it doesn't say anywhere that it has to stay there forever. You can't move. You can't remove it. And those poles, well, Lord, the Torah tells us it cannot be removed. So we're talking about it before, that really this has many explanations. I just wanted to mention the Rebbe once spoke about it. As the Rebbe always brings out everything into his way of thinking. The Rebbe said, what's the idea? Why is it so that it cannot be removed from the ark? You understand the question? Yeah, it's a simple question. You're not with me. It's okay if you understand it too. Yeah, why can't it be removed? So the Rebbe gave an explanation once, and he said it's based on the Sefer HaChinuch. It's a book called Sefer HaChinuch. I have it over here. Sefer HaChinuch, he has very interesting about the Parasha. It brings all the mitzvot of the Parasha. It brings all the mitzvot of the Parasha, and he explains it. Very, very beautiful. I really try to learn sometimes, not the best in everything learning, but I try. So he speaks about that too. And he says, why is it that that you cannot remove it? Those poles or staves, whatever he calls it. Staves, whatever he calls it. Why can't you remove it? I have it right over here.
You mean the poles on the sides, Rabbi?
Right.
The stave.
stave, whatever you call it, yeah. It says the reason is, let's see what he explains. And he says the reason is because the ark, this is the place where the Torah is. And that's the real honor of the Jew. In the Mishkan, that was the most important part. And this is why God wants us to give a lot of honor to this ark. And he says, perhaps sometimes there would be a quick message from God to move to the next place. So when we'll be in a rush, we will not make sure to put it in properly. So therefore, because it had to be put in properly tight, right? It shouldn't fall, right? So therefore, it's better. It should be always ready for the trip. For the other stuff, yeah, okay. So it's not going to be so perfect. It's not going to be so tight. But it says for the ark, because it's the honor of Am Yisrael, that's the most beautiful part of Am Yisrael. So this is why we always got to make sure that this side, this should always stay in. That whenever we need to go, we're always ready. Very interesting concept. As I said, there's many different explanations, but this is the explanation that he gives. But the Rebbe hooks on this explanation. Let's think about it. It's a very beautiful idea. He says, why keep it in? Because if we have to go out of the Mishkan, in other words, the Mishkan has got to be, right, there used to be the Mishkan, then it would be the message of God, and they would dismantle everything and travel to the next journey. So when we so the ark should always be ready to travel. This is what he says in simple words. The ark is the honorable. You don't want to do it in a rush. Everything else okay, but the ark, you don't want to do it in a rush. The ark is like, it's like the king of the Jews. It's like the most beautiful part of the Jews. That should always be ready. So when we have to travel, we just pick it up. We can just pick it up and go. We don't need to. It's a beautiful concept. It's a short thought, but a beautiful thought. In other words, the way he explains the Sefer HaChinuch, he tells us you should know that the Torah, that's the ark, is always got to be ready for the move. Everything else, if it's not ready for the move, it's okay too. But the ark always should be ready for the move. In order to be ready for the move, that's why don't remove them. They stayed for years. They stayed, whatever you call it? Stayed inside the Aron, inside the ark, just for if would be once that we have to move immediately, be ready to go. Beautiful explanation, but explanation doesn't really apply so much in the time of the Bet HaMikdash. Because the Bet HaMikdash, technically they never moved, right? Only the desert they moved. The Bet HaMikdash never moved. It was always there. And it's still, the mitzvah doesn't change. It still have to be there the whole time. What's the idea to always be ready to move? So everyone's give an explanation. Short point, but beautiful explanation. The Rebbe said that this is a tremendous, beautiful lesson to us. And he says, what is the lesson, if I can bring out in the right words? The ark represents Torah. The ark really represents a vessel that Torah is in it, right? The ark was a box. In the box was the Torah. There's many people, hopefully all of us, we all a little bit resemble to the ark. Why do we resemble the ark? Because we have Torah in us, in our brain, we have Torah. Some have more, some have less, some have a lot of Torah. This is why there's a halacha, right, that you have to always get up when you see a knowledgeable Jew. You have to stand up for him. Why? Because you're not standing up for him, he's standing up for his Torah that's in his brain. So you have to honor the Torah that's in his brain. That's why we always have to stand up for somebody as knowledge. That's what the halacha is. Besides, literally to get up for all the person, it says also somebody that has knowledge, you have to get up for him. Why you stand up? It's honor. You have to honor not him. You honor the Torah that's in him. So in other words, that's called a knowledgeable Jew, means the ark that's got the Torah inside him. There is always a story that the previous Rebbe writes, I don't remember the details, but about this great scholar, but he knew very much as a scholar, and I don't know, he fell, I don't remember the details, and he said, please pick up, you don't know what you're picking up, you're picking up the old Talmud when you pick me up. To help him get up, he says, come on, it's not me, it's the old Talmud you're picking up. He was right, I mean, he knew the old Talmud, scholar, but it was a little bit of a problem that he knew that the old Talmud is in him. But it's a cute story, I mean, but that's really the idea, right? We are the ark, that the Torah is in us, right? This is why it says, the Balatanya writes it in Likutei Torah, that every Jew should know at least the whole Torah in the head. If you don't know Gemara, a little bit is okay too, but at least have the Torah in your head. Like this, you really become the ark of Torah. I mean, it's not so hard to know the whole Torah, right? They have it in all languages. It's not a big deal to know the stories of Torah more or less by heart. But whatever, let's not get into it now. I'm not giving messages what to do. I'm just saying, it's an idea. So the point is, what I'm saying is, so really every one of us is represented to ark, semi-ark, or completely ark. Let's not get into it now, right? But we ark. So the message that the Sefer HaChinuch gives regarding the ark, that you cannot remove the staves from it, is really connected to me and you as ark. What does it mean? There's the ark, the way it was, like literally. The ark was in the temple, or the tabernacle, or the desert. But nevertheless, the ark always, even while it was in the holiest of the holiest, the most special place, there wasn't a holier place than that. In that special place, the ark always had to be ready to move outside. Whenever is the message of God, go outside, you got to be ready to go outside. That was the ark. Who for that reason said, don't remove it, because when it comes the time, no hesitation, be ready to go. What does it mean in the spiritual idea? It means to all of us. And what does it mean to all of us? That some people think that their place is only to be in the Kodesh HaKodashim. I'm an ark, I have the Torah in me. Where I belong? In the Kodesh HaKodashim. I'm not going anywhere, I'm good. What a nice place to be in. God said it should be there. No, God said, where's the place of the Holy Ark? In the Kodesh HaKodashim. Me too, I'm a Holy Ark too, right? I got the Torah in me. I mean, I don't talk about myself, I'm talking about some people, right? I have the Torah in me. Baruch Hashem, some people have a lot of Torah inside, thank God in them. So where's my place? The holiest of the holiest. But on top, but the whole... that's where I belong. Says the Rebbe, look what the Torah tells us. The Holy Ark that belongs to the Kodesh HaKodashim. Still God says, do not remove a second the staves. Don't move it, don't remove it. Why? Because even when you there in the synagogue, in the great filling of Kedusha where you are, the Holy Ark, because you think you are, and you are. Let's not respect everybody. We're all Holy Arks. Always be ready to go outside. Because sometimes God tells you, you gotta go outside. What does it mean, the Rebbe says? The idea of being Holy Ark is not only to stay inside. He gotta be ready to go outside and bring the Torah to the outside of the temple, outside of the synagogue. Whatever we learn is not only to learn in order to stay in my Torah, in my brain, in the synagogue, in the holiest of the holiest. The whole idea is to be ready when we need to go outside. Yes, when you got to learn for sure. We got to learn, we got to focus, we got to connect, we got to fill up the ark, that's me, full of Torah. But you have to always know the idea, why do you fill up your ark full of Torah? To be ready to go. To be ready to go outside the temple. To be ready to go outside and bring that Torah where it's needed to be. And this is the rest. This is the message that God gives over here. From all the parts of the Beit HaMikdash, only this part God said, these should always be ready to go. Because the Torah in you is not just should be in you, and you should be in the holiest of the holiest. Is you should be able to make a move and get out and go help another Jew and bring what you learned, if it's a lot or a little. But as the Rebbe was said, if you know the Aleph Bet, it's very little yet. When this other person does not know the Aleph Bet yet, it's your obligation to take the Aleph Bet that you learned, the Torah that you have done a little bit, go on the street and bring it to him. And this is what the ark represents in this Parasha. It's always got to be ready to move. We always have to know that whatever we learn, whatever the Torah is in us, is in order to be able to move and to go out there and to help and to teach another Jew. That's another little beautiful lesson. Shakoyach.